Hey everyone, Ian here, artist and game designer working on Crimson Keep. I just wanted to make another update video for you guys. So last time I showed off the different weapon types with the different weapon graphics. This time we have weapon abilities for each weapon type working. So we've got, for the one-handed axe type, we've got Power Chop, which is just a extra strong damaging attack, and all the weapon abilities right now use mana, which you regain from killing enemies. Club is a one-hand mace, and it has an attack that stuns enemies briefly. The two-handed sword type has a cleave attack that does that hits multiple enemies in an arc in front of the player. Mallet here is a two-handed mace, and it has a attack that knocks enemies way back and stuns them briefly. Kind of a crowd control thing. Also has that same kind of animation. With the greatsword, I can show you here, you can even hit multiple barrels, which is cool. And the sword, which is just the one-hand sword type, it has a stab attack which causes bleeding and damage over time. So these will make the different weapon types a little more interesting to get and experiment with and decide which weapon you want to skill up with. So we've also been working on a bunch of new enemies, so that's the other thing I'm going to be covering in this video. So first off, we have the flying skulls that are like green flaming skulls, and they chase you down and they start an explosion animation once they get close enough to you, so you have to get away before it explodes and damages you. So let me remove those, and we'll move on to the next enemy type. So the ghost is a pretty cool enemy type. Those flying skulls were the first flying enemy we made. We haven't had any flying enemies before that, but this ghost is also a flying enemy, except it's a melee type enemy. But what's cool about the ghost is that you have this pillar here that you can't walk through, but the ghost can clip through anything. So if you aggro it in a different room or something, if you get too close to it, they can just fly right through the wall to attack you. That's pretty cool. Let's see, next thing we have, let's delete that ghost. Mummies. So we had mummies before, but we didn't have them working with all their abilities. So let me show you the mummy. So the thing with the mummy is you kill it the first time, and it dies, right? But if you take damage, or if a living enemy takes damage near it and splashes blood onto it, it comes back to life, and it's stronger in the second version, or it does more damage, as you can see. So we got that. I think that's pretty cool. Next thing I'll show you is the Tree Man. Tree Man's a pretty cool enemy because he's got a much larger reach than other enemies. He's got this kind of halberd weapon, and he does some pretty cool combo attacks that can be lethal. But he also has an interaction with the environment, which is if you're in water, he is even more dangerous. So I have this water. So the water slows you down and changes the footstep sound to a water splash sound. But it doesn't slow down the tree man. He moves a little bit faster, he hits harder, and if you watch his health, he regenerates health when in the water. So you do not want to fight him in the water. And in the area in which you're going to be running into the tree man, the grotto, there's a lot of rooms with water, so we'll have to keep that in mind. Let's see. Let me delete him real quick. Alright, the Spore Ghoul is next. He's pretty cool. Let me change one thing about him real quick. I forgot about this. Alright, so the Spore Ghoul is a kind of a gross infected ghoul variant covered in spores. And when you hit them, these little spores fall into the ground. And if you walk over the spores, they'll damage you. So as you fight them, it kind of affects the the battlefield environment a little bit. So you have to think a little bit more about where you're standing and what you're doing. And when they die, they shoot out a bunch of these. And this can be pretty dangerous if you're fighting them in a like an enclosed area. But I think they're pretty neat. We'll have to see how fun it is to fight them in combination with other enemies. The spores only hurt the player, so it can't really be exploited to hurt other enemies right now. Next we have the Imp Druid. And to get this character working, we kind of had to fix Thorns, which we had in the game and on a couple items, but it wasn't functioning correctly. So Thorns is basically where you, whoever has the Thorns causes damage to those who hit it. So as you can see, you take 5 damage from hitting the Druid. The Druid also heals. Let me put another enemy in real quick with the Druid. So I'll put a Pigman in next to him so you can see the healing effect. The Druid shoots fireballs that I'm going to change the graphic of, but they kind of slow and snare you. But the Druid also heals. So if you saw, there you go. So you can see that the Pigman, after I did damage, just got healed by the Druid. So it's, the Druid's going to be one of those enemy types that you're going to want to prioritize to kill first. Otherwise, he's going to be killing everything, or healing everything. It'll be difficult. Next, the Berserker. The Imp Berserker is their thing is they dual wield and they kind of double attack every time they attack because they have 2 weapons. But they also receive an attack speed and movement speed buff every time someone in their vicinity takes damage, including themselves. So they're just kind of fueled by combat, and they just kind of go crazy. So if possible, you want to kill them in very few hits, and also prioritize them before they get more dangerous. I parried him. Yep, they get pretty dangerous. So let me delete those. And we've got, let me put one of those back. I'll show you this. And I'll lower this Berserker's health to make this a little more clear. But the last enemy is a cleric, a ghost cleric. And they don't heal, but they resurrect fallen allies. Now they can only resurrect the freshly dead. So like a ghoul, they wouldn't be able to resurrect like a ghoul because they've been dead for a while, like a zombie type thing. But if I kill this imp, it resurrects him, comes back to life. The cleric, the ghost cleric, is also wearing like heavy armor and has a shield, so they don't take as much damage from ranged attacks. So you want to fight them in melee. So yep, that's all the new enemies. We've adding this kind of enemy variety is really starting to help the game, I think. There's a lot of different possibilities and situations when you go into a room. So it just makes it more interesting, and you've got more things to adapt to. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.